climate change is probably the most significant matter, concern, challenge that the world faces today, including Albertans. So I'm just trying to give you a reason why this office would be interested in doing audits with respect to climate change, because it is truly an important matter. We, as an office, had audited the previous government's 2008 strategy, climate management strategy. And that work resulted in us making 3 significant recommendations to the government of the day. And none of those recommendations had been implemented. So at the time that the current government brought in its climate leadership plan, we had 3 outstanding recommendations from our previous work on climate activity by government within Alberta. So we decided actually to put those recommendations on hold and sort of move forward with this new climate leadership plan, not with a new approach to auditing it. Essentially, our approach was to say, does the government have the systems that it needs to manage this climate leadership plan? Does it have good planning? Has it designed a suite of planning tools to plan the implementation of their activities? Do they have methods to monitor progress? And most importantly, is there an indication of how the government intends to, over the life of the plan, report to Albertans on the success of the plan? Another part of this audit this time round was to examine adaptation. And by that, has the government put in place strategies to deal with the effects of climate change? That's regarded as adaptation. For example, we all have witnessed in this province increased fires, increased flooding. These are generally viewed as potential results of a changing climate, and governments across the world and in Alberta need to think about these risks and what are they doing to manage those risks. So we wanted to look in at Alberta's adaptation strategy. In discussion with the government and with the public service managers, they responded that they had been busy with the work that they've done and that we have, in a sense, commended them on, and they will now focus on adaptation. There is actually one weakness that we have drawn to the government's attention, and this is an important weakness, and I think the government accepts it's going to have to do something better here. And that's with respect to an overall implementation plan for the climate leadership plan in its totality. It's a complex endeavor. It's ambitious. There are many parts to it, and many of these parts interact with each other. And so we believe it's really important that there be one overall plan. It's as if the initiatives within the endeavor are being looked at, but we think it's really important that there be an overall implementation plan. So we have made a recommendation to government that it think hard about the need for one of those. And I believe that certainly within the Climate Leadership Office, that they will give consideration to that. I do want to commend the government for its December 2017 progress report. One of the problems with previous endeavors and our outstanding recommendations from the past is there had been no progress reporting to Albertans. There were important strategies in place, costs were being incurred, but no reporting on what was being achieved. So in December of last year, the government did issue a progress report, and I think it should be commended for doing that, and Albertans should take a look at it. But we have said to government that progress report, the next progress report, needs to be improved. It needs to do a better job of bringing together the expected costs and benefits. In other words, what are we trying to do in terms of benefits, and what are the costs, and what are the actual results in terms of costs to the government and costs to Albertans in terms of the benefits being achieved, which is more than just reductions in emissions. There are other benefits that the government knows about, but it hasn't really, in its progress reporting, created a holistic picture. So in a way, I think we challenge government to improve its next progress report. The Climate Leadership Plan, this government's climate leadership plan, previous governments' climate strategies, I mean, these are big endeavors. This is really a program activity that there is no choice. Governments across Canada, across the world, are all seeking to take steps to reduce carbon emissions. And most importantly, examining strategies for dealing with the risks that come from the outcome of a climate's changing. I want Albertans to know that we've used their resources in looking in at a very important initiative of the government. It's an initiative that is so important because it's concerning governments across the world. Changing climate and what are governments doing to reduce emissions and adapt to that change. So this is an important subject. It should concern Albertans. I want them to know that we've looked in at the government's climate leadership plan. I want them to know that the fundamentals are there, the way of executing and managing the plan, the fundamentals are there in terms of the design of the processes needed. I want them to know we'll be doing future audits to see whether those designed systems and processes are actually operating. I also want Albertans to consider looking in at the government's progress reporting in the knowledge that their audit office, has suggested that progress reporting could be better in the future. Better in terms of doing a better job, a clearer job of marrying costs and results, both in terms of what's expected and what's achieved. So if Albertans were to take an interest in this, which I think they should, I would encourage them to see whether they can actually see and feel that the progress reporting is getting better over time, because that's what we're advocating for.